So let's talk about two countries on the southern tip of the Arabian Peninsula. At first glance, you might think they're identical twins, but as we're about to see, they're living in completely different worlds. I mean, really think about it. Yemen and Oman are neighbors. They're shaped by the same desert, the same sea. They seem to share almost everything. So how in the world did they end up with such radically different fates? That's the big question we're diving into. And the similarities are, well, they're pretty uncanny. Both countries sit on these incredibly important waterways, vital for global trade. Both have oil and gas. And they share this deep, rich Arab culture. You think their futures would look pretty similar, right? Well, this is where the script flips completely. Oman is a developed nation. Its human development index is high, not too far behind its super wealthy neighbor Saudi Arabia. And Yemen, it's one of the lowest in the entire world. That number tells a story of a nation in a deep, deep crisis. And that low score isn't just some abstract number. It has a devastating human face. We're talking about a catastrophic humanitarian crisis. A staggering 82% of Yemen's people are trapped in extreme poverty. To really get how things got this bad, we've got to rewind the clock and see how each of these nations was built. Okay, so first, let's head over to Oman. Its modern story isn't some slow, gradual evolution. Nope, it's a story of a rapid, top-down transformation, all driven by the incredible vision of just one man. Oman's history has been full of outside players, first the Portuguese, then the British. But the real game changer, the moment everything shifted, came in 1970 with a quiet palace coup. So the new leader, Sultan Qaboos, he inherits a country that was basically frozen in time. On purpose. His own father was this ultra-conservative ruler who had banned almost everything modern. I mean, get this. You couldn't wear sunglasses. You couldn't even have a public conversation for more than 15 minutes. Just let that sink in for a second. In the entire country, there were only 10 kilometers of paved roads. That's it. Only 3 schools, a handful of hospitals. It was a nation stuck in the past. But then, in just 15 years, Sultan Qaboos completely redrew the map. The country went from those 10 kilometers of paved roads to 3,000. This wasn't just building a few roads, it was an absolute infrastructure revolution. And his strategy was honestly brilliant. He took the country's oil money and plowed it right back into things for the people. Schools, hospitals, you name it. He pushed for huge social reforms, gave his people jobs through a policy called Omanization, and even started thinking ahead to a future without oil. And really critically, he kept Oman neutral, becoming this peaceful dealmaker in a super volatile region. It was a masterclass in how to build a nation. All right, now let's flip over to Yemen. And wow, it could not be more different. Instead of that singular vision, Yemen's history is a story of division. Deep, constant division, both in its geography and its politics. The land itself played a huge role here. You've got these really rugged, isolated mountains up in the north. This created a totally distinct culture for the Zaidi people, who are a branch of Shia Islam. Meanwhile, the coastal areas were way more connected to the rest of the world. So you had this natural fault line running through the country from the very beginning. And unlike Oman's one clear path, Yemen's modern history is just this tangled mess. For decades, it was actually 2 separate countries, North and South Yemen. Each one got caught up in the Cold War and all the regional squabbles, which led to civil wars and a so-called unity that was always, always fragile. And this is so important to understand. Outside powers have constantly used Yemen as their own personal chessboard. They fight their battles there, which just pours fuel on the fire of all the internal conflicts and has stopped Yemen from ever really coming together as one nation. So check this out. During the civil war in the 1960s, you had Egypt backing one side, the nationalists, and on the other side, Saudi Arabia, a monarchy, decided to back another monarchy. But get this, it was a Shia, Zaidi monarchy. Why? Because the Saudis were more afraid of revolution spreading than anything else. You see, it was never really about religion, it was always about power. Now, fast forward to today, and it's the same tragic story, but even more complicated. The country's been ripped to shreds by all these different groups, and each one has its own powerful foreign sponsor. Iran, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, all of them pushing their own agendas on Yemeni soil. So yeah, you've got history, you've got geography, you've got foreign meddling, but when you boil it all down, the one thing that truly separates Oman and Yemen, the ultimate difference maker, it comes down to leadership.
I mean, the contrast here is just night and day. On one side, Sultan Qaboos used Oman's oil money to build a nation. On the other, Yemen's longtime president, Ali Abdullah Saleh, used it to make himself and his family rich. Qaboos tried to create a unified Omani identity. Saleh played different groups against each other just to stay in power.
Just look at this number from a UN report. $2 billion. That's how much President Saleh was accused of stealing every single year for more than 20 years. While Omanis were getting schools and hospitals, Yemen's national wealth was just being systematically drained away. And that legacy of corruption, of division, it's what has led Yemen to where it is today. All those proxy wars and political games have ended in a total and complete collapse of the state. And the human cost? Well, it's just devastating. Because the people who pay the ultimate price for all this are, of course, ordinary Yemenis. We're talking about 20 million people. That's 2/3 of the country who can't reliably feed themselves. It's a man-made famine on a scale that's almost impossible to wrap your head around. So in the end, the stories of Oman and Yemen are this incredibly powerful and really tragic lesson. They had such similar starting points, but leadership sent them down two totally different roads. One path led to stability and a better life, the other into this endless cycle of destruction. And that leaves us with a final, really tough question. For a country as broken as Yemen, how can a nation even begin to recover when its most valuable resource of all, good leadership, has been lost for so long? Thanks for watching.